The curse of the ancestors, a family secret with a supernatural warning. The moon hung like a pale eye over the forest when Alva's horse suddenly reared. An owl had screamed, or maybe it was something else. She remembered her grandmother's words about the curse of the ancestors, a warning she had always dismissed as old superstition. Stay away from the abandoned farm by the tarn, her grandmother had repeated every summer, for there lies the family curse that no one in our family can escape. Now Alva lay in the moss with pain pulsating through her leg. The horse had disappeared, and her broken leg made all thoughts of going back the way she came impossible. Through the trees she glimpsed the old farm, the forbidden place. She dragged herself forward, smelling moss and rotten wood. The night was warm, yet she felt cold sweat breaking out on her forehead. A strange mist swept in from the tarn, creeping between the trees as if searching for something, for her. The old farm lay there like a dark wound in the landscape. Alva recognized it from her grandmother's old photographs. She had never understood why the family had abandoned this place. Always just whispers and averted glances when she asked. When she limped to the porch, it felt as if the entire farm was breathing. The wooden siding was almost black with age, windows gaping empty and dark. She needed rest, needed shelter, maybe a phone, and yet every step toward the door felt like a step closer to something she shouldn't approach. The curse of the ancestors is no fairy tale, her grandmother had said with a trembling voice that last summer before she died. It is real, and it waits for all of us. The door creaked on rusty hinges when Alva pushed it open. The air inside was heavy with dust and something sweetly rotten. In the darkness, she could make out furniture covered with sheets, like ghosts in the faint moonlight falling through the broken windows. She limped across the creaking floor, searching for a phone or something to sit on. But there was something about the place that made the hair on her neck stand up, as if the room was studying her rather than the other way around. In the room that must once have been a kitchen, she saw it, an old table with a warning carved into the wood. Let none of our blood return. Beside it lay an old diary, as if it had been waiting for her. With trembling fingers, she opened it and began to read by the light of her mobile phone. It was her grandfather's notes, about how his great-grandfather had built the farm in a place where nothing should have been built, ignoring the supernatural warnings of the villagers. About how his oldest daughter had drowned in the tarn, but was then seen walking around the farm at night. About how accidents continued to haunt the family until they fled, but the family secret went deeper than that. With rising horror, Alva read how her ancestors had tried to break the curse by sacrificing one of their own to the entity in the tarn every third generation. How they had lured a child down to the water where the Brook Horse waited. Alva dropped the diary when she heard it, a sound outside like heavy, wet hooves sloshing across the yard. Goosebumps spread across her body. It sounded like a horse approaching, but with an unnatural rhythm to its steps. "Hello," she called, but her voice broke with fear. Through the cracked window, she saw something moving in the mist by the tarn, something large and dark. It resembled a horse, but too large, too black. Its eyes glimmered like glowing coal in the darkness. It was a horse, but not quite a Brook Horse. The entity her ancestors had cursed the family by trying to subdue. Panic seized Alva. She tried to stand up, but her leg gave way beneath her. Her heart hammered in her chest, and she couldn't catch her breath. In the diary, there had been something that sent chills down her spine. The curse of the ancestors demands its price. It takes a child every third generation. It is our punishment for what we did. Alva realized with terror that she was exactly the right age, exactly the right generation. A loud scream, almost human but not quite, cut through the night. It came from the creature outside, which now began to move toward the house. She could see its wet, black skin gleaming in the moonlight. She felt anxiety taking hold, suffocating her. Her thoughts whirled. This had been planned. Her grandmother's warnings had not been to protect her, but to lure her here, to fulfill the family curse. With shaking hands, Alva tore out the last pages of the diary. catching sight of a note. The only way out of the curse of the ancestors is to acknowledge the family's guilt and ask for forgiveness. But it must be done at the tarn where it all began. The house shook now, as if something heavy was moving across the porch. Alva heard wet hooves on the wooden floor, slow, heavy steps approaching the kitchen. She backed away into the dilapidated pantry door. She had a choice: flee if she could, or face what her ancestors had tried to avoid for generations, acknowledge the guilt for what had once been done, or become the next victim of the curse of the ancestors. In the doorway appeared something that almost made her heart stop. A creature with a horse's body, but an almost human upper body, dripping with the tarn's dark water. Its lips pulled back in a grin that revealed predator teeth. The Brook Horse leaned forward, its breath stinking of rotten water and decay. It whispered in a voice that sounded like bubbling water, "Your blood belongs to me, promise, your soul." Somewhere deep inside, Alva knew there was a way out. That she could break the circle of fear and guilt that had held her family in its grip for generations. But could she really do what was required, acknowledge the family's crime and ask for forgiveness? Or would she, like her ancestors, let fear take over? Outside, the tarn called to her. The curse of the ancestors waited for its next victim. The Brook Horse stretched out its hand toward her, a hand that shifted between human fingers and wet, black hooves. Alva made her choice.